Good morning, students. I am Sweetly, Assistant Professor of Civil Engineering Department, working in Emmanuel J.J. College of Engineering. Today, we are going to study one topic from wastewater and byproduct utilization subject. Okay, the topic is chemical properties of wastewater. What are the chemicals or chemical properties of wastewater? Do you have any idea? What are the important factors that affect the wastewater or a normal water? What are the factors to be considered? Do you have any idea? Okay, let us see one by one. Okay, first one is temperature. What is meant by temperature? What is the normal room temperature? Anybody know what is the normal room temperature? 23 degrees Celsius to 27 degrees Celsius. Okay, here in the wastewater, in every wastewater, some bacteria or viruses or any fungus or algae or microbes, somewhat is present in a wastewater. Okay, therefore, if the bacteria or some other things present in a wastewater, then it affects the activity of bacteria. Okay, and create some soluble gases or harmful gases, somewhat like that. Okay, therefore, the temperature plays an important role. Therefore, maintaining the wastewater in a particular temperature is very much important. If the temperature gets increased, then the dissolved oxygen content of wastewater gets reduced. Okay. Therefore, we have to keep the wastewater in a normal temperature. Okay, normal room temperature or an average of 20 degrees Celsius temperature is suitable for microbial activity. If the temperature becomes more than 40 degrees Celsius, then the dissolved oxygen content becomes low. Therefore, it becomes harmful for the human beings as well as animals. Therefore, the temperature must remain with a normal of 23 to 27 degrees Celsius. If the temperature becomes more than 40 degree, then it is very harmful. Then second chemical property we are going to see is pH. What is meant by pH? From the childhood onwards you are studying, right? What is meant by pH? It is a negative logarithmic of hydrogen ion concentration. Okay. How we denote the pH? pH is expressed as negative means minus logarithmic. Therefore, log of hydrogen ion concentration means H plus. Okay, minus log to the base 10 of H plus. If you want to find out the hydrogen ion concentration, then it becomes H plus is equal to 10 power minus pH. What is meant by pH scale? pH scale ranges from 0 to 14. Okay, from 0 to 7, if the value for pH is from 0 to 7, then we said the solution is basic solution. pH is less than 7 means it is acidic, right? If the pH value is greater than 7, then it is a basic. If the pH is equal to 7, then it is a neutral. Okay, if the pH is less, then more acids get produced in the wastewater, and hence the solution becomes as a acidic. Okay, therefore be careful. 0 to 7 the value is acidic, 7 neutral, more than 7 to 14 the value is basic. Okay, therefore if you want to treat the wastewater, we have to know the pH value. Okay, because in the treatment plant, if the pH value is less than 7, which means if it is acidic solution, then you have to analyze the chemical test. What are the chemical reactions to be undergone, or the chemical test, the initial preliminary test we have to conduct it, and then we have to test. Otherwise it will affect the treatment procedure as well as treating equipment. Some chemical reactions may occur, some harmful gases may release. So you have to know the pH value of wastewater before treating. It's important. Okay, next, presence of fats, oils, and grease. How the fats, oils, and grease get attached to the wastewater, where it is present commonly in wastewater, how they get mixed with the water from our kitchen waste, right? From our kitchen waste, we from the in our kitchen we use vegetables, then meat, then oily items, something like that, during washing the vessels, something like that. Fats and oils get attached to the water. How grease get attached? From the industries, okay, the way from the industries or machine shops, automobile shops, they use the grease for cleaning purposes or some other purposes for lubrication, like that they use grease. From that the grease get attached to the water, okay. If the fats, oils, and grease present in the water, it may form a scum. What is meant by scum? Which means the oily surface or like a clogs, okay, it looks like a clogs on the top of the tank, and it may clog the pores of various filters, okay. If it present, then it may affect the porosity of the filters. Therefore you have to remove the scum on the top of the sedimentation tank. It remains as a suspended particles in a top of the wastewater, okay. That is known as a scum. The suspended particles, oil appears like a suspended particle in a wastewater. You have to remove the scum, otherwise it may affect the filters. So the fats, oils, and grease must be properly deducted and checked before the wastewater is fed into the treatment plant for sedimentation, okay. If you want to calculate or measure the quantity of fats and oils present in a sewage, then you have to collect the sewage sample and allow it to evaporate. After evaporation, some residual solids get left in the vessel. Then take that residual solids left and mix it with ether. Then the solution is again poured off and again evaporated. After that, some residual solids get left. Okay, that residual solids is the fat and greases present in that wastewater or sewage. Then it can be easily removed from the wastewater, okay. This is the simplest procedure for removing the fat, oils, and grease present in the wastewater. Then next we are going to know about the oxygen demands. What is meant by oxygen? What is the necessity of oxygen? Oxygen is the basic need for a human being to live, right? Human being as well as animals, living beings to live, right? Okay, the availability of oxygen in water is also very, very important. As well as in the wastewater also, the availability of oxygen is very important. If the wastewater is to be directly discharged into the water body or river, it must provide a dissolved oxygen of minimum of 4 mg per liter. If the dissolved oxygen content is less than 4 mg per liter, we have to treat it first and then allow to discharge it in a water body or river. If the value is more than 4 mg per liter for the dissolved oxygen content in a wastewater, then it can be directly discharged into a river or ocean, anything else. Otherwise, you have to treat it. Therefore, knowing the dissolved oxygen content is very, very important. Two types of oxygen demands are present. They are BOD and COD. Okay, what is meant by BOD? Biologically oxygen demand, and COD means chemical oxygen demand. Okay, BOD and COD. The dissolved oxygen content is determined by Ringler's method. Then we are going to study about the COD. What is meant by COD? The full form is chemical oxygen demand. Okay, definition for COD is the amount of oxygen required to decompose both biologically active matter and biologically inactive matter is known as chemical oxygen demand. Okay, what is meant by COD? The amount of oxygen required to decompose the biologically active matter and biologically inactive matter. Okay, it can be calculated in the laboratory by performing tests in a number of ways. The most commonly used is, in order to stabilize the organic matter, you have to add a strong oxidant like potassium dichromate, okay, to stabilize the organic matter. Then metal content. How the metal content may add to the wastewater. The metal content get added to the water from mainly industries. Okay, from industrial waste the metals are present. It is very difficult to remove the metal content from your wastewater. You have to find the pH of that wastewater first. If you identify that metal is present, then sulfide is added to remove the metal, okay, to increase the recovery of a metal from wastewater. Then the treated water is run through the clarifier to settle the solids. For a heavy metal removal, hydroxide precipitation is used. Okay, while adding the hydroxide precipitation, sulfide may be added or will not be added. Okay, based on the need, we may add sulfide or not. The sulfides result in a lower solubility than hydroxide precipitation alone. Okay, if you want to settle the metal, all the metals down, then we have to add the sulfide alone. If we add the hydroxide, then the solubility may become somewhat lower when compared to sulfide. Okay, then phosphorus. All the municipal wastewaters may contain 5 to 20 mg per liter of phosphorus. Out of this, 20 to 25% is organic and the rest is inorganic. Okay, what is meant by municipal wastewater? Municipal wastewater include the kitchen waste, industrial waste, or wastewater from the bathrooms. Okay, like that. All the wastewaters comes under the municipal wastewater. It may contain 5 to 20 mg per liter of phosphorus. Out of this, 20 to 25% is organic and the rest is inorganic. The usual form of phosphorus found in the solutions, aqueous solution, water solutions include, aqueous means water, okay, orthophosphates, polyphosphates. Orthophosphates available for biological metabolism without further breakdown. Okay, without further breakdown, it is available for biological metabolism. Polyphosphates means some other molecules combined with the phosphates and form a complex substance, and it reacts in the wastewater and creates somewhat harmfulness. Okay, therefore we have to convert the polyphosphates into orthophosphates, but the process is very slow. If we want to remove the phosphates from the wastewater, then we have to add the coagulant. What the commonly used coagulants for removal of phosphorus is calcium, aluminium and ferrous. Okay. Some cases secondary treatment systems also remove 1 to 2 mg per liter of phosphorus. If large excess of phosphorus is discharged, then it may cause the eutrophication in surface water. Now, the new legislation, new law is applied for the disposal relating the wastewater. You cannot be dispose the wastewater having a harmful factor of phosphorus greater than 2 mg per liter. Okay. Then sulfur. Sulfur is also a chemical, we all know. It may be present in a form of sulfide, sulfates and hydrogen sulfide in a wastewater. The determination of sulfur in this form is rarely done, however, their presence may indicate aerobic and anaerobic decomposition. Okay. We cannot identify the presence of sulfur with our naked eyes, but we can identify by means of aerobic and anaerobic decomposition. Okay. If the sulfur is present in a water, it may react with the wastewater and create the hydrogen sulfide gas. If hydrogen sulfide gas get produced, then it creates a bad smell and odor. Okay, bad smell, very foul smell. Therefore, if the smell, a bad smell, foul smell comes from the wastewater, then you may identify in that wastewater sulfur content is present. If the wastewater having sulfur is passed through a treatment plant directly without treatment, it may cause the corrosion of sewer pipes. Okay, I hope you understand what are the chemical properties of wastewater. What we study: temperature, pH, sulfate, phosphorus content, presence of fats, oils and grease, metal contents. Okay, like that, BOD, COD, oxygen demand, everything comes under these chemical properties. Okay, hope you understand. Thank you.